I think, and I know Tuck been telling me about how Shotty kind of like a used car salesman. You know what I'm saying? He out
Mhm.
there trying to sell the room. And I agree with you completely. I remember in or leading up to some of these movies we made, and when we were in full-fledged, yo, I'm tired of this team not doing nothing mode before the free agency started, and we were talking about what kind of coach we needed, right?
Mhm.
And I was saying I had no idea it was gonna be Shotty. I was like, I need a coach that could come in here and try to outsell Jerry or Steven and
Mhm.
not just be because I think Mike McCarthy's problem was he was too prideful.
Right.
He like, I ain't gonna talk to them. Whatever. I'll deal with whatever they give me. I think Shotty got a little bit of like just worrisome little brother to him. Because Will
Mhm.
McClay said that it was Shotty and Jerry, but mainly I think Shotty that was like, oh man, we're gonna follow up on that Pickens thing. Like, what's
Mhm.
up? And because I don't think Shotty has the like we were saying earlier in the chat, I don't think Shotty got the ability to be, you can't be cocky.
Right.
But
You gotta
who does
be
he
like,
remind you of though? Who does he remind you of? I talked about it. I was like, man, when I was making the 14-3 reference or whatever, he reminds me of Wade Phillips when he came in after Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells was accomplished. He had things he wanted to do a certain way,
Mhm.
kind of like McCarthy. And now Shotty coming in, fun loving, we're gonna be shooting free throws and all that type of stuff. So,
he do got a cheat code though.
So
He's a
he
Suns coach.
reminds me of a coach DMV after Parcells, but it's
oh,
not Wade.
You better not say Dave Campo.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that was before. That was before.
that was
It feel
before.
it
Oh, you gonna
feels
say Garrett? You mind you of
it's
Garrett?
Garrett. Mhm. It
I
feels
need him to have a little bit more swag than Garrett. Because if he
if
just
well,
start
I
clapping,
think he's just I think
but
he's more of a modern day version of it. You know what I'm saying? He got tattoos on his forearm. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's more of an upgrade. It's a little bit more swagger, but and
It's a
we'll
little
talk
bit of
about
both.
that.
I'm gonna
It's
say
a
Yeah.
little
something
bit of
that's gonna
both
be controversial.
because he's the son of a coach too. Remember, his dad.
Garrett wasn't horrible, y'all. Garrett just was missing that little something that can get his team motivated.
Yeah, yeah,
Garrett, I heard, had hard
yeah.
practices. I heard that he was detail oriented. I heard he loved physicality. Like Garrett,
Right.
he had the right things, but he didn't have that. It's
Ugh.
game day. I
Right.
need to have y'all locked. He didn't have a motivational thing. I don't know if Shotty got it. I can't give it to him until he do it. But
Right.
Garrett, like when it was big games, Mike Tomlin will carry a bad team over just on whatever he's saying in his pregame speech.
Right.
It worked.
Right.
And I think some of our coaches, if we haven't had that, if it's either got to be a player like a Ray Lewis or your coach, somebody got to give you that, yo, this is a big game. Let's get to it. And it can't be Dak. We've talked about that. That's got
Right.
to be out.
Right. And see where I think the difference is will be between Garrett and Shoddy, right? They kind of have those same traits, but Shoddy is smart enough to know I have a dog in Micah Parsons. I
Mhm.
can unleash that, right? Versus you heard the stories. And if y'all ever want to set Des, salute to my dog Des, you ever want to set Des
Oh,
off,
that'd
right?
be
Bro,
all
if
night,
you
bro.
missing
All
Jason
night.
Garrett, you know what I'm saying? It's I've seen
See,
it
I can't
happen.
say he lived it. I can't
Hey,
say
bro,
nothing to
hey,
that
bro,
man.
when
Hey,
you
bro,
missing
need to go
Jason
to
Garrett,
counseling about Garrett, bro.
bro, we've literally been like just vibing on some other stuff and something about Jason Garrett and it sets
It was
Dez off
different though.
because Jason Garrett did not know how to channel that type of player in Dez Bryant,
He
right?
also allowed
I
too
feel,
many clicks. I
right.
think
And so
Shotty trying to break up clicks. That's why he moved them locker rooms around.
exactly. And so I feel like what Shotty's also going to do is, like he said yesterday,
Right.
he went to dinner with Micah Parsons yesterday. So he knows that I don't have to be the rah get everybody. I have the players in house to do that right now, but I
He
can't
right. He right.
alienate him, because I got to let Micah lead his way. So by embracing Micah, putting his locker next to Dak Prescott and saying, okay, this
Y'all the
is your
leaders.
team too, is
We
not going
felt
to
it
put him in
too.
those situations.
But hey, Tuck, we felt it too because there was a time where I might have asked you, and I might be giving away too much, but I was just like, does it seem like the young folks don't really rock with Dak like that? And guess what? Shotty probably sensed that too.
It's a
And
smart
now he
move.
didn't put the young
Right,
person captain in there with, you know what I'm saying, with the old
right,
guy in the locker room now.
I
So
right.
think
it's a smart move.
I think that I said you don't handpick your leaders, but you can give somebody more responsibility. I think Shotty had a lot to do with who was on that stream. And I think that tapping Osa, like, hey, you get in
Mhm.
the bag now. You can't
Right,
just weight lift and be big. You
right.
got to do more.
Hey, Hey, but
I
dog,
like
Osa,
that though. Get him out there.
That's a big
hey,
as hell. Dude.
Osa don't win nothing, bro. Like, he even called Osa out for losing the free throw challenge.
I
Like,
like that,
damn,
though.
Osa.
I like how he hated it a little bit. He's like, I ain't gonna say no names, Osa.
Right.
Right. So that kind of gets in perfect segue because I was talking about this on Twitter, right? And this is before I saw the interviews, because what I was trying to caution Cowboys Nation with is that we throw this word culture around. It's kind of like dog, right? It's like dog and culture, right?
Culture.
And I felt like where I was kind of being like, okay, we wasn't getting any specifics when it comes to changing the culture. Like, we want to change the culture. We'll change it from what to this, right? So what are we changing from year to year? And I posted on Twitter, and a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, maybe got a ripple effect because Jane Slater asked Dak Prescott the question, and also our guy Clarence Hill asked the question. So this was Dak Prescott's response to changing the culture.
Not to be a devil's advocate.
Really?
You've been
You
around
know,
a long
Clarence.
time. You guys have had good culture, good
Terrence.
brotherhood. Jason Garrett talked about the right kind of guy and having captains. So this talk of chemistry and culture has been around here. You guys have said you've had good culture and you've had good brotherhood. Why would it be different this year? Why you said that's going to help us win? Why would it be different this year than in past years?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, the approach of how we're building it. I think a lot of times, may in the past, I've said it, and I've maybe just been talking, and not just talking, or naive in a sense of talking about how great just the offenses was, right? And not necessarily the team, and not necessarily offense connecting with defense, connecting with special teams. So I believe that Schotty's doing it the right way from the top down of take the offense and defense away from it, take the positions away from it, take the coach and player aspect away from it, and let's connect. And you're talking to one of the most optimistic people I think you'll find. I've seen it the way that it's going. I see the way that people are buying into it, and it's hard for me to think anything different.
We've talked about this before. Sometimes.
All right,
Nah, I didn't hear that quote.
Oh, you didn't hear that? Okay.
Bro,
Yeah.
You about
Hey,
to
guys,
game.
I'm loving this energy
Where
so
my
much, bro.
Kool-Aid
I
at?
gotta put the glass.
Hold on, where my Kool-Aid at?
You get your
Bro,
Kool-Aid cup.
glasses on,
You know what I'm
bro.
saying?
You shouldn't have played that, Tuck.
All right, Rose. So all right, bro. It's a good
Kool-Aid.
question. So when you hear that, what's your thoughts?
Listen, I think Dak just told on himself, and I like transparency. I like Dak saying, like, listen, I used to be too focused on offense, and he basically just said I wasn't trying to connect with the defense. I respected them as my teammates, but I was focused on quarterback play and offense. And he said that Schotty is stripping away offensive positions, and I guess I don't know if just titles like captains would probably be captains, but I do like hearing them just say, like, look, we're trying to connect, because if you connect with your brother next to you, you'll fight harder for him rather than y'all just independent contractors.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not trying. I know this ain't Remember the Titans or Little Giants, but I'm just
Right.
saying, to hear him say, it's the thing about him admitting, like, yeah, I wasn't focused on the defense. And I'm like,
Right.
what you mean you weren't focused on your teammates? You know what I'm
But
saying?
see,
That's good to hear.
So yeah, and so that's what I kind of got excited. Okay, that's what I've been trying to like get from the meet. Like, somebody please ask this damn question, because y'all, you know what I'm saying? So when Dak said that, it's like, okay, that's when my light bulb clicked off. Is because when you watch the Dallas Cowboys just pass under Mike McCarthy, let's say Dan Quinn, you always felt like it was defense over here, high flying, interceptions, you know, J-Ron Curse, dog, Micah Parsons, this and that. And then you had the offense over here. You know what I'm saying? You pretty much had the white Air Forces and the black Air Forces completely separate, right? And I feel like what Schotty is saying, if we're going to wear black Air Forces, offense going to put these shits on too. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't
The
no
whole-
fake brotherhood though. Look,
Yeah,
we even had
yeah.
fake brotherhood on defense. D-Law and Mike ain't even like each other.
I mean, they were trying to fake it, but it was obvious. And shit.
No
You know what I'm
coaches,
saying?
nobody, like teammates. Look, let me get these dudes. I hate them. Let me give them a little slight props. The Eagles had beef last year, but apparently they got in a room and was like, we gotta fight for the greater good. We ain't gotta be best friends.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? They got in a, this is what was reported. They got in a room and hashed things out so they can play together. Mike and D-Law apparently just couldn't wait to start getting at each other. The reason why I bring that up is just, it's good to hear, like, yo, you know what, you're locking next to you over here, and all that, you Dak, you holier than now. We done with that.
Right.
I like that. Because
Right.
maybe
I love it, bro. I love it, bro.
Go ahead, DMV.
Like, like team dynamic is very important. Chemistry is very important. Synergy is very important
Very
to
important.
winning. And I did a video on it. I think it was yesterday talking about that. Like, I don't know if bro read some self-help books, went to some kumbaya camps or whatever to really be able to do this. I also wonder this too, and I have to ask this question. Was he trying to tell Mike McCarthy this last year and this was just on blind ears and he just
Of
said,
course,
what,
Mike
shut
is
up?
cocky.
Yeah. And,
But
and I
yeah,
wonder if this is what his pitch was to the front office. And this is why things have shifted the way that they are. And this is why they felt like he's the right man
I
for the
said Mike. I said Shotty kept this shit to himself. You know what
Can I
I'm
say
saying?
something? I think that's kind of funny. I think I'm not trying to hate on Mike. I know it's real easy to hate on the coach that left. I just think that Mike, like you said earlier, Tuck, Mike a Super Bowl champion, and he got his own like pelts on the wall. So he like, yo, I know what I'm doing, and there's a
Mhm,
lot of
that
ego
part.
in that room, right? I think
mhm,
Schotty has been patient, waiting his turn to get a head coaching opportunity, and he had his dad in his ear.
mhm.
He had apparently Pete Carroll in his ear. Apparently, he got a lot of head coaches that has been grooming this man, and he been probably taking a little bit from every head coach he was under,
Right.
seeing what didn't work. And like it ain't nothing like watching what the dude did it in front of you fail. He watched
Mhm.
Mike fail all last year. Like, I ain't gonna do that.
Well, think about this simple nugget, y'all. He got to see the Legion of Boom, right? And what happened to Legion of Boom? How did that empire fall? Is because the defense became the identity and the offense was over here completely different. Russ had his own VIP parking, his own, own
That's
access.
a
He,
great point.
he was alienated. So Shotty said, "Oh, no, 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 no. We're
No,
not
nothing
going to
happened.
have our quarterback over here as the golden boy, and then everybody else is grimy. I'm going to toss you right and put your locker right next to Micah, and y'all both get to speak, right? So that way you get the
Mm.
old opinion that maybe say, okay, let's not do it that way, but Micah can also have some impact as
You gotta
well. So I
uplift
think
Micah.
that,
It's his time.
because think about it last year, y'all, it was probably D-Law doing all the talking, Zach Martin doing all the talking. You probably had Dak doing all the corporate talking. And when CD and Micah or, say, any of the younger guys try to speak up, it was like, that's not how we do things in Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So now you kind of get a mixture of the old Unk and Dak Prescott, but you also get that new young energy as well.
They call
We're,
him
we're,
Unk now too. That's funny.
They call it
and
Unk. You know
we're
what I'm
also
saying? It's
we're
crazy.
also not talking about the experience that this kind of feels like with this team and building culture. Kind of feels like Rex Ryan too, because he was up under Rex Ryan when they had that
He got
can't
all
wait
that.
Jets
Right,
team
DMV.
too. So yeah,
Right.
it kind of feels like that because that team had a lot of swag. They had an attitude, a type of physicality. We talk about physicality. That was
Right.
probably one of the more physical teams. They used to punk the Patriots actually. So
Right.
I think he took some from Rex as well.
I think
But
we got
here's what
this.
I'll
We
say
got.
though.
You
You
know what I
can't
think?
fake that.
Oh,
You
go ahead.
can't fake that, right? It has to be really you. You know what I'm saying? You can't fake toughness, being a tough coach, right? And sweat. Like it has to come natural. You know what I'm saying? So that's not you, Shotty. Don't, because it'll look fake. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like because a lot of people want to compare Shotty to Nick Sirianni, right? Nick Sirianni, what people don't understand, one is when he first got there, people forget he was a punching bag. Y'all forget how he
Yeah,
used
he
to
was
dog
stuttering.
walk the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he had instant success that we see today. But also, what Nick Sirianni did is he embraced Philadelphia culture. You know what I'm saying? So that's when he got this pompous,
I think
arrogant
that's shot. That's what
asshole,
Shotty's stealing from him, though.
because that's what the city likes, right? So when it comes to Shotty, you have to find out, okay, who do you want to be? What do you want the identity of this team to be? And then really build it in your presence, in your image. You can't try to recreate what Pete Carroll did or what Rex Ryan did, because
Yeah.
that's just not you. Do it the Schottenheimer way. Because I'm keeping a buck with you, Shotty. You're on a 4-year deal. It's now or never. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
I
saying?
think,
Yeah, ain't no 4 years, bro. You
but
got
Yeah.
to
Tuck,
Right.
impact
I
right
think
now.
the motivation. There's two types of motivation. There's rah guy, and I know what that's about because I give a good rah speech. There's rah guy, and then there's believe in philosophy guy. I really feel like Shotty got a little bit of Dan Quinn in him, as far as
Mhm.
I don't really never see. Maybe I missed it. I don't see Dan Quinn giving like the super fiery speeches. I just think Dan Quinn got his players loving him so much.
Yeah, they
That's
mess
Right.
why
with him. They rock
and
with
I
him.
see that with Shotty.
Exactly.
They
That's Shotty.
rocking with him.
Right.
like a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they might have when he first started, it's probably like, man, we ain't even really like. They probably thought like we did. They just took any coach. But Schotty got like a way with words. Like he looked like he'd get around you and be like, "So you gonna act like
No,
that?"
he Schotty is hella cool. Schotty's the type of coach, he might mess around and come on cover 3. You know what I'm saying? Like he could probably, you know what I'm saying? And I remember
Bro, he kept it real.
You gotta welcome him, Tuck. You gotta welcome him.
You know what I'm saying? It's just Schotty. But I remember when I met Schotty when he first got to Dallas as the OC, and when I was at camp covering camp, right? And even the energy from him just being the OC was different. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just he was correcting it, do it again. And I remember, I think I did this on Boss's show, right? CeeDee Lamb ran a route and it was off, right? It's off kilter, and he cut too early.
I remember
and
that.
Schotty stopped the play and was like, no, do it again. But he didn't like scream and yell. It was like, okay, you have to bang it at 5 or whatever the play was.
Cut it back
like,
though. You think
right.
Mike doing that?
Well, I mean, Mike was there, but I mean, Mike was too busy.
That's my biggest problem
you know
though, because Mike had to, as a walk around coach, you should have your hands in more stuff. I don't need, Schotty mentioned Devin Street earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, first of all, what? Like he know
everybody, dog.
Right.
And I don't even think Mike knew everybody
too.
I don't think Mike knew everybody. And I think some of that, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fault Mike. When you a champion and you feel like you that dude, sometimes you get a little full of yourself. It just happens. You know what I'm saying? I think our front office been full of themselves for years. So I think Schotty being, like you said, he know the opportunity he got. The coach of the Dallas Cowboys, he's like, yo, if I do this right, I could become a legend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, he didn't have to coach in Cleveland. Like you get the biggest opportunity at your first opportunity, bro. And you know, there's somebody that's foaming at the mouth. He's right here on my wall, right here, and Jason Witten. Slip up.
Cannot wait.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you get this golden opportunity, and I think you're 1,000% right, Ron, when it comes to Schotty. He's not going to be the motivator, but I even said this when it comes to Mike Tomlin, right? I don't think Mike Tomlin is the most incredible X's and O's guy. But I can guarantee you, if you speak or meet Mike Tomlin, you are ready to go to war for him. It's the same thing with Coach.
It's the way he talk, bro. I be hyped when I listen to
the way he talks.